Welcome to Before the Council, a reading of the Revere City Council Agenda for the meeting of Monday, February 11th, 2013. There are 16 items on the agenda this week. Coverage begins at 5 p.m. with the Legislative Affairs Committee meeting, chaired by Councilor Brian Arrigo. Also on that committee are Councilors Jessica Giannino, Arthur Guanasso, John Powers, and Stephen Reardon. On their agenda are two items. First, pursuant to Council Order 12-272, this is regarding an ordinance amending the City of Revere's sewer use regulations. And two, pursuant to Council Order 12-081, an act relative to the issuance of second-hand dealer licenses. In conjunction with that item, we have a memo from the City Clerk, Ms. Ashley Melnick, dated May 9th, 2012. In response to Councilor Guanasso's motion relative to a moratorium on second-hand dealer licenses, I have drafted the following special legislation necessary to accomplish the merits of his motion. An act relative to the issuance of second-hand dealers licenses in the City of Revere, Section 1. Notwithstanding Section 54 of Chapter 140 of the General Laws or any other general or special law to the contrary, the License Commission of the City of Revere shall not issue more than 3 second-hand dealers' licenses within the City of Revere under said Section 54 of said Chapter 140. A license previously granted by the License Commission of the City of Revere under said Section 54 of said Chapter 140 shall remain in effect at the licensee's location as long as the licensee complies with all of the rules and regulations of the License Commission. The License Commission shall not approve the transfer of a valid second-hand dealer license on the effective date of this Act to any other location within the City of Revere except into an IP or TED district. Section 2, this Act shall take effect upon its passage. And a note as a follow-up to the discussion which occurred at the March 26, 2012 meeting of the Revere City Council, the Council was able to issue a moratorium on Class II licenses on the basis of a zoning issue. However, second-hand dealer licenses are not mentioned within the zoning ordinances, and moratoriums are issued for the purpose of conducting zoning studies. The manner in which to regulate the number of second-hand dealers' licenses within the City of Revere would be to define second-hand dealers' licenses within the zoning ordinances and include it as a separate use and restrict to certain zoning districts. Special legislation would be required to restrict the number of licenses issued by the License Commission, similar to the special legislation which was filed with regard to Class II licenses. We move on at 6 p.m. to the Revere City Council meeting, which begins with a salute to the flag, the roll call of members, and the approval of the journal of the meeting held on January 28, 2013. Then a resolution of condolence will be read in memory of Ms. Karen Belanger, Parking Control Officer. Then it's on to calendar item number 1, which is the report of the Public Works Committee. And then calendar item number 2, the report of the Legislative Affairs Committee. Calendar item number 3. This is a communication from the Mayor relative to the appointment of Mr. Henry Mancini of Revere to the Revere Housing Authority, dated January 31st, 2013. Dear City Council members, I am writing to request that the City Council consider and approve the following reappointment to the Revere Housing Authority pursuant to Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 121B, subsection 5, of Mr. Henry Mancini of Revere, Massachusetts. This term will expire on February 18th, 2018. Please be advised that Mr. Mancini will be available at the next meeting to answer any inquiries which you may have of him. Very truly yours, Daniel Rizzo, Mayor. Calendar item number 4, pursuant to Council Order 13-018. This is a communication from the purchasing agent relative to bulk purchasing of goods and services, dated February 5th, 2013. Dear Honorable Revere City Council, In response to the above-referenced council order, please be advised that the Purchasing Department does partake in collective purchasing with other governmental entities when it is advantageous to the city. Very truly yours, Marie E. Zalandi of the Purchasing Department. Calendar item number 5. This is a communication from the Planning Board relative to an ordinance regulating medical marijuana treatment centers, dated January 30th, 2013. Dear members, pursuant to Section 17.56.050 of the revised Revere Zoning Ordinance, the Planning Board, at a special meeting held on January 29th, 2013, subsequent to a public hearing held on January 29th, 2013, voted to recommend that the City Council withhold taking any action on the above-referenced ordinance amendment regarding the regulation of medical marijuana treatment centers until regulations governing the licensing and control of such facilities are promulgated by the Department of Public Health, and until a written opinion is received by the city's solicitor on the city's legal standing to properly regulate such facilities. Respectfully, Eugene McKenna, the chair of the Revere Planning Board. Calendar item number 6. This is a communication from Mr. Edward Stokels relative to alleged building code violations at number 25 Ellerton Street. Dated February 5th, 2013, reads in part, Gentlemen and ladies of the Revere City Council, this communication represents a request by a law-abiding citizen of good standing in the city of Revere, Edward Stokels, to have certain issues of major legal importance be put on the February agenda calendar of the Revere City Council. A request by Mr. Stokels to the Council to have City of Revere comply with FOIA. B, City of Revere's responsibility to deal with the threat issued by resident of 25 Ellerton to tear up the fence separating the property to 21 Ellerton. A, for approximately a year, the builder, owner, and now resident of 25 Ellerton Street has allegedly constructed his house and resides therein without having adhered to all required local, state, and federal building codes, based on every citizen's right established by the Freedom of Information Act and the Massachusetts Public Information Law to have access to such public documents as surveyors' reports, inspection reports, environmental compliance reports, etc. I am looking forward to the City of Revere Council to make accessible and available to me all documents that the law encompasses that had to be complied with in order to have obtained a residency permit for number 25 Ellerton Street in Revere. Over the past year, I have repeatedly requested in writing such documents from appropriate members of the City of Revere officials, but have been totally ignored. I have been denied fair and equal treatment, while my adversary has been provided with free professional services by the City of Revere officials without oversight. I am making an offer at the time of this request to the Council to place on the Council's agenda to provide to the City of Revere a complete set of records of my previous efforts to communicate with Revere officials over the issue of 25 Ellerton versus 21 Ellerton, the dated letters and DVDs previously provided piecemeal to Revere officials. B, in the dark of night, this person has been damaging our grapevines that grow on our fence separating the two properties. When we protested, he threatened to destroy the fence and said he would take over our 21 Ellerton property. My concern, he has no right to destroying the fence based on the legal principle of adverse possession, which clearly favors us. Due to the construction of the house at 25 Ellerton, it is surrounded by ground elevation that is as much as 6 inches higher than the previous house's elevation that existed on 25 Ellerton. Note the surveyor's report, if they still exist, about above-ground elevation at 25 Ellerton are intentionally erroneous, and it is signed by Edward Stokels. Calendar item number 7. This is a communication from Attorney Douglas Arico requesting to appear before the City Council to discuss parking issues at Village Court condominiums in relation to PUD-12-01. Dated February 5th, 2013, it's addressed to the City Clerk, Ms. Ashley Melnick. Dear Ms. Melnick, I was glad that you and I had an opportunity to discuss the above referenced matter by telephone earlier today. The intent of my prior letter, written on behalf of the Village Court Condominium Board of Managers, was not an attempt to belatedly appeal the special permit in question, but rather simply to seek an opportunity for the condominium board to appear before the City Council to discuss the parking issues at the condominium and explore how they might be addressed as contemplated by paragraph Roman numeral 2.8 of the special permit. Since it is our understanding that the project is now on hold due to a pending judicial appeal, we would ask only that the board be given this opportunity to appear at an appropriate time in the near future. Thank you for your consideration. Very truly yours, Marcus Errico, Emmer, and Brooks, P.C., and it's signed by V. Douglas Errico. Calendar item number 8. This is a communication from the mayor relative to the appointment of Ms. Lauren Davella as a constable. Dated February 7th, 2013. Dear council members, I am hereby requesting the City Council's confirmation of Lauren Davella of Lynn, Massachusetts, as a constable for the City of Revere. In accordance with the provisions of Chapter 41, Section 91 of the Massachusetts General Laws, this appointment is granted for a period of 3 years, unless sooner revoked by the Mayor, the Chief of Police, or the Honorable City Council. Ms. Davella has been advised that the Appointments Committee will be contacting her shortly with a date and time to appear before the Appointments Committee. Very truly yours, Daniel Rizzo, Mayor. Calendar item number 9. This is a communication from the Mayor relative to various bond orders for the Staff Sergeant James J. Hill School. And this is dated February 5th, 2013. Dear council members, I am writing to request a public hearing for the following bond orders and orders of transfer required to construct the new Staff Sergeant James J. Hill School project and renovations to the Della Russo Stadium. 1. A bond order to pay the costs of construction, originally equipping and furnishing the Staff Sergeant James J. Hill School in the amount of $42,402,396. 2. An order for the transfer of Hill Park land to the Revere School Department for the Staff Sergeant James J. Hill School project. 3. A bond order authorizing the acquisition of certain parcels of land required to construct the Staff Sergeant James J. Hill School and acquire land to be converted into parkland in the amount of $3 million. 4. A bond order to pay the cost of park improvements at the former St. Mary's Ball Field site once acquired in the amount of $2.1 million. 5. A bond order to pay the cost of remodeling the current McKinley School building in the amount of $2.5 million. And 6. A bond order to pay the cost of remodeling, reconstruction, and making extraordinary repairs to Harry Della Russo Stadium in the amount of $5.5 million. As you know, the Massachusetts School Building Authority, the MSBA, approved the scope and funding for the Staff Sergeant James J. Hill School on January 30th, 2013. It is now time for the city to proceed with the required funding approvals and land acquisition process. The MSBA requires that funding and approvals be obtained within 120 days of the MSBA approval of the project. The MSBA's deadline for a favorable vote is May 30th, 2013. Based upon the above, I respectfully ask that the City Council move these bond orders to a public hearing at its earliest convenience. Very truly yours, Daniel Rizzo, Mayor. Calendar item number 10. Pursuant to Council Order 13-036, this is a motion presented by Councilor Penta that the parking clerk recommend to the Traffic Commission to institute a new parking violation as follows. Group D, with a fine of $50, parking of any bus, taxicab, hackney, pupil, or livery vehicle upon any street other than at a taxi stand. Calendar item number 11. Pursuant to Council Order 13-037, this is a motion presented by Councilor Novoselsky that the Mayor requests the City Planner to draft a new zoning ordinance defining and regulating second-hand dealer licenses. Further, that the Planning Board issue a moratorium or cease and desist to the License Commission with regards to the issuance of second-hand dealer licenses until such zoning definition has been established. Calendar item number 12. Pursuant to Council Order 13-038, a motion presented by Councilor Novoselsky that the mayor investigate purchasing electricity and gas from alternative sources for all city-owned vehicles. Calendar item number 13. Pursuant to Council Order number 13-039, this is a motion presented by Councilor Novoselsky that the mayor include in the next fiscal year budget a part-time secretarial position for the Commission of Disabilities for the City of Revere. Calendar item number 14. Pursuant to Council Order 13-033, this is a motion presented by Councilor Guanasso that the mayor requests the Traffic Commission to look into the feasibility of making Fernwood Avenue one-way from Broadway into Fernwood Avenue in the interest of public safety and area residents' request. Calendar item number 15. Pursuant to Council Order number 13-040, this is a motion presented by Councilor Guanasso that the mayor requests the Traffic Commission to look into the feasibility of instituting one-way streets as follows. McKinley Street, one-way exiting onto Revere Street. Cleveland Street, one-way entering from Revere Street. Roosevelt Street, one-way entering from Revere Street. Washington Street, from Cleveland Street to McKinley Street. And Washington Street from Roosevelt Street to McKinley Street. This motion is made at the request of several residents in the area due to the traffic flow caused by the new Paul Revere School. Further, that this matter be discussed at the next Traffic Commission meeting. And finally, calendar item number 16, pursuant to Council Order 13-041, this is a motion presented by Councilor Correggio that the mayor requests the parking clerk to amend the parking control officer's schedule so as not to issue violations on Saturdays. And this has been before the council, a reading of the Revere City Council Agenda for the meeting of Monday, February 11th, 2013. I'm Rick Promise, and I'll see you at the council.